Hey guys, what's going on? It's Sunday Naked Confessions, and I have been wanting to do this video for a long time, but I'm really nervous and a little uncomfortable because this is truly me being as naked from my inside as possible to you guys, and I think it's deserved being that we're on this journey together, and I wanted to share myself with you guys. It's a video about my family and the struggles we've had, and I'm already getting really nervous and freaked out. Because I don't want to upset anyone, but it's honest and it's truthful, and I've come to terms with a lot of this stuff. But the fact of the matter is that I have not had the best relationship with my parents. I grew up with a mom and a dad and a little brother and a little sister who I love so much. But like any family, we've had our problems and haven't seen eye to eye on everything. And I have to say I am so lucky that it didn't have anything to do with who I am and my sexuality or what I was interested in or what I wanted to do. It's more about the fact that my parents, I don't think, were given a real shot as people to really learn how to be parents. Their parents had similar issues, and mine went on to do the same thing. My mom got really sick when I was 6 years old, and it's why I am who I am today. She had my little sister, and she had her tubes tied, and the doctors basically did everything wrong they could have. And for 7 years, she was just as sick as anyone could imagine. It was basically in bed and just not healthy, and it was really hard. I'm shaking. And so, when I was 6 years old, I realized that life is just very precious and that you have to be kind to others, and sensitivity isn't a bad thing. And it's what made me the target for a lot of bullying growing up, because I was sensitive, and I found that girls understood me better, and the boys that I wanted to be friends with didn't want to be friends with me. My dad is someone who I almost don't even like to use that word with, because I don't look at him as a father figure. He didn't do his job, in my opinion, as a father is supposed to. He didn't teach me what it is meant to be a man. He didn't show me how you are supposed to work hard for what the things you are in your life that you want, and how to support a family and take care of one. He wasn't an absentee dad, and I give him credit for the fact that he was around and he worked somewhat, and he made sure that I would get to swim practice and school and all that other stuff, but it was never without a fight. And we never saw eye to eye on a lot of things, and I think it's because I was probably too smart for my own good growing up. But again, when you have a parent that's sick when you're so young, you realize so much so quickly. My parents were also super inappropriate with me in terms of the fact that they told me everything going on. I knew the fights they were having, I knew money problems, I knew their marital problems, and in a lot of ways, I'm grateful for this experience because it's why I am the way I am today, and I do think I'm sensitive and compassionate and empathetic, but I think it's also a really hard position to be put in when we're 6 years old, and it never got any easier. I mean, I've been working since I was 14 years old, and I'm not angry about that at all. It's taught me the value of money, and it's made me really understand what it's like to build yourself up and to work hard for the things you have. I've been self-sufficient since I was almost 18, and again, it's not something that I'm angry about. But when you see your friends and they don't have to worry about the things you have to worry about, it's really hard to just go, this is okay, and I'm loving my life. Like, things were hard. Things were really hard for me growing up. And it wasn't just, bullying at school. It was going home and watching your parents scream at each other and fight and be so mean. And I remember that I, took on a lot of those habits because it's what you learn and it's what you see and it's what you think is normal. But when I was 18 and kind of seeing this girl in high school, actually, we got into a fight, and I looked at her and I go, I hope you die. And to me, that was normal fighting in my home. We said the meanest things you could think of. It was like just whatever you could to push someone's buttons and make them feel so bad, you would say it. But in that moment when I said this to her and she looked at me and she just started to cry, I all of a sudden understood that this was not normal. And she goes, you want me to die? And I was like, no, like it's just something you say, but I realized it's not something you just say. Words have weight and you can't take back the things you say. And honestly, from that moment, I've never fought the way my family fought. I want to make this video because I want kids to know that you're not alone. It's the message in all my videos, that things are not perfect and they never are. That when you push yourself for greater, you can find it. And you may not feel like you're set up for any kind of success, but you are. And if you continue to do what you need to for yourself, then you can get out of bad situations. Again, I'm lucky in the fact that I had food and shelter and a brother and a sister. My parents weren't physically abusive. They did protect me in a lot of ways, but I don't think that I properly grew up with parents. And I wasn't set up for a success that I want. And I didn't know what it was to even think about the future, because all I could see and worry about was right now and surviving and making sure that we had a place to live and that, food was not always an issue. We went through some really poor times. And I think a lot of people just look at me and see my life now and go, oh, well, everything's been easy. It's not the case at all. And I want to be really honest about that. I'm trying really hard not to cry on you guys. But, so many ums, I'm sorry. And you guys know I don't cut my videos, so it's going to be this. But what I'm getting at is that through all of this, I always kept my positive attitude. And to be honest, a lot of people go, how? And I don't even know why or how I did. I think it's just something in my soul that is extremely old and understands so much more than I can even comprehend sometimes. And it's been the best gift that I could have ever given myself, because the positivity is far stronger than any of the negativity or the fighting or the mean things said. And it hasn't stopped. I still have to deal with my parents, and they're going through a messy divorce, and for that reason I don't want to get into details and specifics because they need to deal with that on their own. But when you're 18 and struggling at college to make sure that you can do well in school so that you can graduate and have a good life and good grades, and your parents ask you for money so that they can make sure rent is paid for, or that the cable doesn't turn off so that they have internet, and they guilt you into these things, it's not a fun experience. And it wasn't until I was about 22 and I was lying in my bed and I was just wishing for someone to come and save me that I finally went, you know what, Barrett? No one's going to save you, and you have to save yourself. So stop wishing and start doing, start taking action, and it's exactly what these videos are all about. And then when I was 23, I said, I'm not falling for the guilt trips anymore. I am going to do what I need to for me, and you guys are adults and you can figure it out. And they did, or kind of, and everyone's still alive and breathing and okay for the most part. I tried multiple times to really have a moment with my dad where I looked at him and said, I love you and I want to work on a relationship. But it never felt genuine on his side, and it never felt like it was something he really wanted, and it was just something that I realized I didn't need, and it wasn't something I was going to look back on years later and feel badly about, because I had done my part and I had tried, and I had reached out, and I had said honest, true things. And my relationship with my mom was amazing growing up. She was my best friend. She was my confidant. She made sure I was okay. But as we've gotten older and I've seen things from a more adult perspective, I realized that there was a lot of things there that also weren't the greatest. And our relationship is strained, but I love her and I will always love her. And I only want good things for both of them. But that doesn't mean that I have to keep any kind of toxicity in my life. And that's a really hard thing to say about your parents. But your parents are not necessarily the people you get to choose. So that's why I've grown up and created the family that I've created through my friends and mentors and have people to look up to now. This wasn't the happiest video, but it's the truth, and I think the truth is important to share. You know, there's been illness, and there's been adultery, and there's been lies, and there's been problems with money, and that's my family. And I realized the second that I was no longer embarrassed to share that with people was the second that all that didn't matter, because it wasn't a reflection of me. Because I wasn't the person doing that stuff. It was a reflection of my parents. And again, those aren't the people you pick. They have you. So you can never feel bad about having that experience. It's just something that you must look at and learn from and go, whether or not this is what I want or not want, I have an example. And I'm going to take that and use it so that I can empower myself for the future and be the person that I want to be. And that's who I am today. I love you guys. I hope this video wasn't too sad and depressing, but it's something that, again, I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's not the prettiest or the most fun to watch, but I think, again, it was just really open and honest and what a lot of people need to hear. If you haven't already subscribed, then please click that little button up there. It lets you know when a new video is up and ready to go. If you liked this video, then please give it a big thumbs up, and please leave your questions and comments and stories below. It really means a lot to hear you guys relate and understand and feel like things are changing for the better because of something I might have said. Again, I love you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Much love. Over and out.